YouTube, this is Harmony, and I am doing a video because one of my subbies sent me an email and she asked me if I could do a response video. So I spoke with her first to get her blessing, to ask her questions and stuff, to see if she wanted me to read the letter. I'm not going to say her name, okay, but she wanted a response and to the email that she sent me. So this is the question. It says, many of the things you pointed out in your video hit home for me. I'm single, never really been in a relationship before. I know exactly what you mean by when you say that. I'm coming up on my mid-20s next month. I had this issue with the guy I met at work. Now things have escalated so far since things began. I've actually learned how to handle him based on experience. We started off just being silly, joking, and making fun of each other, and then I guess feelings started to develop. He is 11 years older than I am, which is huge. Yeah, that is. That's huge, but it depends on the kind of person that you're getting involved with. I don't really see anything wrong with getting involved with older men if they're really in your life for the right reason. I really don't. But anyway, so I know he was playing off my innocence and the fact that I was so naive in the beginning. We flirted at work and we talked to each other on the phone at night. Our co-workers would always joke about us getting married, which was embarrassing. We at first denied anything was going on, but hey, they figured it out. Anyway, we talked on many different levels, on spiritual things, family, education, and so forth. We became close. He told me that he could not marry an American woman because he's Nigerian and his parents would disown him. That left me wondering what his intentions were with me. I didn't want to be someone's toy. You know what I mean? Okay, he didn't want to commit, but he wanted to be physical. Okay. I regret ever letting him put his hands on me. At times I feel so stupid. But the good thing is I didn't sleep with him. Girl, I'm proud of you. Even more disturbing is this. He used to hit me. I know. At one point I was like, what's wrong with me? He would literally slap me in the face several times. He said he was playing, but he knew I didn't like that. He once hit me in my back so hard, my God, I was crying. In the beginning, he would embarrass me in front of others and act as though we weren't talking. Then later on, try to butter me up. I was delusional. I thought I was in love with him, so I withstood all of that. The last straw was when he stopped talking to me for no reason and wouldn't respond when I asked him what was wrong. I cried until I got a headache every night wondering what I had done wrong. 3 months later, he tries to talk to me. I ignored him for an entire year. He apologized a few times and told me I better start talking. I've been speaking to him a little bit now, but whenever I think of all the hurt I went through, I shut down. He's confused by this. I'm trying to get over the hurt and be forgiving. I no longer want to be with him. My issue is this. For most of the time we're talking, he's always acted like he didn't care about me and other people. Like I was nobody. He looked at other women. But I can tell that he does have feelings for me in some twisted way. He just won't admit it. He gets jealous when I talk to other guys at work. He's always giving me this look. He thinks I'm still head over heels for him. I told him, look, it's not like that. I'm not here to stroke your ego. Don't mess around and get your feelings hurt. Sorry again for the long post, but what are your thoughts on this as far as age? Him not wanting to commit, then wanting to admit his feelings, whatever. Could you do a video? If so, could I be anonymous? Okay. First, I want to say, I can't tell you what to do with your life. You know, these are still your choices. These are your emotions. These are your feelings. But, you know, I've been there. And, I don't know. Maybe whatever I say to you tonight, maybe it'll hit home. Maybe it won't. But I will tell you this. One, you don't get involved with somebody at your job. unless the guy is really, 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 really worth it. Unless you've seen the way he's treated other women, you know, or other people, just not other women, just the way he treats other people. And then you know it's a risk. Getting involved with someone where you have to spend the majority of your day, whether it's in your building, where you go to church, your neighborhood, you have to be careful. You know, I didn't date people in where I lived at. You know, look, when I go to work, I want to make my money. I don't want to be seeing somebody, things didn't work out, and people start acting stupid and everybody's in your business. So that's something I would advise that you should not do. Don't get involved with people who you work with. Like, again, unless they're really, really worth it. Second, this guy has issues. This guy has major issues, but I don't want to talk about him. I want to talk about you. Because I honestly believe that when people who come into your life are a reflection of how you feel about yourself and what you will allow and what you will accept and what you attract into your life. I don't know your past. I don't know if you have daddy issues, mommy issues. I don't know if you were raised by your parents. I don't know. Only you know what your past is. And I feel like when a person deals with their past, then that means you're dealing with all your stuff. You find out what your triggers are, you find out your issues, and you deal with that stuff. And that way, you come to a place where you start to grow and you start attracting positive people in your life. I have to honestly say, when I changed, the kind of men who were attracted to me changed. You know, changed. I started, when I changed and I started realizing that I was a valuable person and that I'm important to when it comes to a relationship, I started attracting those kind of men who respected me. Nobody should put their hands on you. Nobody. There are people, I mean, there are states, most states, if you put your hand on a dog, you go to jail. And you're a human being. So, this guy is all about his ego. He doesn't really care about you. This is about his ego. He has some sick, twisted way of trying to control you. I mean, you've answered a lot of your questions in this letter for you to say, he told me I can't marry you. He won't marry you, but he wants to be intimate. No. 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 You're not some sample. You're not a test dummy, no. So that was clue number one. Him putting his hands on you, that was more than a clue, you know. He's at your job, then he stops talking to you. Let me tell you something, that's not love. When a man cares about you, he cares about you. And he honors you, he respects you, and he builds you up. People putting their hands on you, you don't know where he's coming from because he has you on this emotional roller coaster. You don't know what's going on. You're crying every night. No. 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 Work on you. Work on you. You know, you might have some friends that will tell you, oh, just kick that guy to the curb and find a new man. Don't even do that. Work on you. You know, work on you. You're young. Even though you're young and you're in your mid-20s, you know, when you're 20s, you do a lot of crazy stuff. But a lot of women, they're in their 30s, and they're in their 40s, and they're in their 50s, and they're going through stuff like this. Some of us never learn from it. Some of us, it takes us longer, or some of us, which is what hurts my heart, is some of us don't even see it. Some of us don't even see it. And I have to honestly say that a lot of times, we are so used to the dysfunction. We are so used to these dysfunctional relationships that if love ever came and looked us in the face, we would just bypass it. A lot of us say we want a good man. A lot of us say that we want a healthy relationship and we just want somebody to come and love us. But we're not ready for that. A lot of times we go back to what is familiar. You know, when I met my ex-boyfriend, I had like no self-esteem. And we were feeding off of each other's dysfunction. But he loved me. He loved me and he respected me. But he gave me a kind of love that I never had before. And it was scary. I didn't even know what to do with that. I wanted the fussing and the fighting and the confusion and the drama because that was familiar to me. I knew what to do with that. I didn't know what to do with a man who adored me and loved me and cared about my well-being, and I needed a lot of help. And no matter how much, some men come in and they want to be Superman and they want to be your savior. He could not help me. He couldn't help me. And we were in a relationship on and off for 5 years, and it was just, all it was just a reflection. It was a mirror. I was looking in the mirror. This relationship was showing me, Harmony, you don't know how to give love. You don't know how to receive love. You have no idea. You don't know your own value. I remember one day after work getting into an argument with him on the phone, and I went in the bathroom and work, and I was just crying, and I was like, I don't understand. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. When I fell in love with him so fast, number one. It was just all about him. It was all about him. Because I had no self-esteem. I had no value. And some of that plays out in all of our lives in different ways. But the number one thing, I know all of us, a lot of us out here, we want a man. We want a man. We want a man. Some of us take pride. Girl, I've never been single. Really? You don't want? No. This is why we're having so many issues. We're having so many issues as women. It's 2011, and I know many of us are educated and we got our own businesses, but in the area of relationships, and Oprah said it best, we have not, on a whole, there are a few of us. There are a few. And this is for married women or single women. The things that we allow into our lives as women, because we don't want to take the time out to be alone and find out who we are and deal with our stuff. I'm in a relationship now, and when you deal with your stuff, it really doesn't go away. You just learn how to manage it, because you know you. So you know the good, you know the bad, you know what your triggers are, but you only find out that stuff when you're alone, when you're asking God, like, okay, what's going on with me? And when you really take a hard, long look in the mirror, you start dealing with your stuff. You start dealing with your past, daddy issues, rape, molestation, all kinds of stuff. I mean, ladies, come on. And we're out here, we're trying to have relationships. Some of you have good men, and your husband and your boyfriend are looking at you like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're mad all the time. You're angry. You're upset. You haven't dealt with your stuff. You haven't dealt with your stuff. You don't even know what you're angry about. What the man does, nothing is ever good enough. Nothing is ever good enough. You need to do this, you need to do that, this, that, or the other. You're upset, you're depressed. Deal with your stuff. You can't have a healthy relationship with somebody and you haven't dealt with your issues. And some of you, I know people have this saying where, just forget about the past and move on. But if you don't deal with your past is what's controlling your here and now and what's controlling your future. You make choices. We make choices. And those men who have broken our hearts, whether we've been raped, molested, abandoned, all that kind of stuff, if we've never dealt with it, if we have never, you just can't stuff that somewhere and say, well, oh, now I got a degree, or now I own my own business, or now I'm married and I have a family, so that means I'm okay. No, it's not. It's going to play out in your life. I'm in a relationship now, and when I start going through certain things, and if Malcolm doesn't understand, I have a way. I don't have a way. I can explain it to him. Look, this is what's going on. This is what I need. So he's not looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with her? And I'm saying, I don't know. You guys understand what I'm saying? So you have to know yourself. No one, even whole means you know who you are. You know your weaknesses. Some of those things in your life will always be sensitive, but you can deal with them and you can move on. You know how to deal with it, But having Malcolm in my life, he's not always around me. I remember when I would be in relationships, because I had abandonment issues, if I was seeing someone and they were leaving, it was like they died. It was like the person died. I would just go through this crazy sadness will come over me, guys. And I didn't have to do anything for it to come. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I would just become so sad, and I'll feel lonely, and I'll feel like I'm never going to see the person again. It was abandonment stuff. And when I was abandoned, I wasn't abandoned when I was a teenager and I could see it. I was abandoned from the womb. I was abandoned when I was a little girl, didn't know what the hell was going on. It was more spiritual than anything else. I felt all that stuff that my mother was going through. Oh, I mean, you know, she found out that my father was messing around. I was 8 months pregnant. She went to the abortion clinic with me, and yeah, I'm gonna keep it real because I don't have time for this fluff. And she went to the abortion clinic with me, and they told her to go home, and my mom had me, but my mom was she was probably going through other stuff on top of that because she was a young mother. And I felt all of that. That's why I was depressed as a child and so unhappy as a person. I was so unhappy. I always had this cloud of emptiness and depression over my life. And with all of that, I had to, something's not right, Harmony. Trying to have relationships with all of that, trying to be involved with it, you're only going to attract how valuable you think you are. So those of you out there who sit down and you talk about your man and you talk about your baby father or you talk about your husband and you keep listing all these things that he has done to you, in actuality, all you are doing is listing, this is my worth and this is what I will allow. And this is how I loathe myself. That I will accept all of this stuff in my life. So, to answer your question, work on you. This guy is just a reflection of what you will allow in your life. I don't know if you still have feelings for him, or if you're just confused. He has issues. He has issues. I will share this with you. There was a gentleman that I was very attracted to, and I was attracted to him for the right reasons. I was very single at this point, no man in sight. This was like 2007, and I used to see this guy, very handsome. But not only was he handsome, I admired his work ethic. You know, he was just a hard-working person. Every time I came home, I saw him in his business doing his thing, and one thing led to another, and I was very attracted to him. And I let him know that. Girl, once you do that, once a man knows you are really attracted to him, there's no chasing it, there's no challenge in it. So he would talk to me and stuff, and every time he would talk to me, I would be like, okay, you know, maybe he's interested, but he never asked me out. Clue number one. And I liked him. But then I started, you know, one time he stood me up, and, you know, he gave me a little excuse, and I was like, okay. And then, ladies, I'm so happy I wasn't intimate with this dude. I read the book. I didn't read it. I got the audio book, He's Just Not That Into You. And after I read that book empowered me. I know at first it hurts your ego, but I found out that this dude, it wasn't about me. It was about his ego. Every time he would see me, he would flirt with me. He would talk to me, blah, 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 but he never asked me out. Sometimes I would go into the restaurant and he would be like, so-and-so, I'll pay for her food. And, you know, I'll be like, okay, well, maybe he does like me. No, he didn't like me. He never asked me out. Okay? He never put the nail in the coffin. You understand what I'm saying? And I remember after he stood me up, that was it for me. And I went into the restaurant and he was there. And he saw me and I just went in. He said hello to me. I said hello. I got my stuff. And he came out of the restaurant and he said, you know, Harmony, he said, I'm really sorry for standing you up. And he said, you know, I just got out of a relationship. He said, and I'm at a place right now where, you know, I'm just really busy with my business. And I looked at him and I said, it's okay. I said, you don't have to explain anything to me. It's all right. I said, you have a good night. Well, you should have seen the expression on his face. You should have seen it. He was like, he was taken, you know, he was so surprised that I responded in that way. And then from that day, when I would go into that restaurant, I had to pass that place to go home. See, this is what I mean. Don't get involved with people in your neighborhood if you're not sure. And I saw him, I would see him. He would be out there with his boys, you know, because he had a business in the area, so he would go there for lunch and stuff. He was always trying to get my attention. But yet he wasn't still trying to get my attention. I remember one day I went in there with 2 male co-workers. He almost hit the roof. But he never asked me out. He wasn't interested. And I figured it was just about his ego. It wasn't about me. He didn't have any interest in me. He just wanted to flirt. And he liked the fact that I liked him. It was all about him. It had nothing to do with me. Then I just started ignoring him, period. And then I would see him. I would go in. I would get my food. He would try his best just to, hi Harmony, how you doing? Come up in my face and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Have a good night. I was never rude or nasty to him. So this dude right here, it ain't about you. He already told you he won't marry you, but he wants your cookies. No, it's not about you. It's about his ego. And you're thinking and forgiving. No, you can move on. See it for what it is. He already showed you who he is. Maya Angelou said, you know, when people show you who they are, you know, believe them the first time. He has major issues. And move on. He's at your job. I don't know how you're going to handle that situation. I would, if he's at your job, try your best to avoid him as much as possible. You know, if he gets physical with you, you're going to have to take that to another level. This is why it's really not good to get involved with people who you work with. But move on. Move on. That wasn't even a real relationship. He was telling you there's no commitment here, but will you give me your cookies, your emotions, your heart, your vagina? And no, you're too precious for that. No. And forgiveness, you can forgive yourself, and you're going to have to forgive him so you can move on with your life. But trust, you don't have to be his friend. He don't have him all up. If he's trying to, well, you know, things didn't work out between me and you, but we could be friends. No, you don't want to be his friend. You want a clean break from this dude. Clean break, at least for now. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen 2-3 years from now when you're much stronger and you're more confident about yourself, and you see him, you just say hello and you keep it moving. But no. So that's all I really have to say. Yeah. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night. As you guys can see, my hair has just like poofed out from my other video, and I don't feel like twisting it tonight, so I'm going to chance it and just sleep on it like this and just see how it turns out tomorrow. Okay? So you guys have a good night. Tomorrow is Friday. I hope you have good plans for the weekend. I have to go to Harlem again tomorrow to get some green tea, because the green tea scent, I'm all out of it. And I'll take this opportunity to say I thank you all for your support. I thank you. I really, 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 really do. I really enjoy talking with you guys, and I enjoy doing the videos, and I just really enjoy, you know, where, you know, this is going. It's really cool. And I'm making plans very soon where we can meet. So all of that stuff is in the works, and I will have details probably the first week or second week of March, so we can hang out. Okay? So I will talk to you guys later, and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.